and if I have these characters having this, conflict here, I better choose this because they have the EQ here, and then they have the SQ here, so they're going to have this specific kind of, loop, and but here's the funny thing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got to stop you here because I'm a writer and I know how complicated and intellectually taxing it is to just write a book. But it sounds like are you creating hologenetic profiles for all your characters, like fully built out?
No, I have my characters in my mind. They come, I'm imagining them, right? Yeah. I have a vague idea of what they are. So they already come with their, something. And then I imagine somebody somewhere in history that kind of resembles that. And then I go get their jinkies, their hologenetic profile, and then I start using that.
So is it like in your nature to make things really, really, really complicated? Or is it just with this book?
I guess a little bit, yes. For a long time, yes. But at the same time, I kind of like, it was the beginning of the book was kind of like a distraction from my Dark Knight. But then what happened was that I realized that I really, really, really wanted to master the 64 attitudes in myself. Mm-hmm. And I also realized that it was going to be incredibly difficult because I'm a very playful person. Mm-hmm. And so it was very, very mental, very, very, a lot of dense content, right? So I kind of invented a way to play with them, to play and learn, and so it eventually just became a way for me to learn all of this stuff while I'm having fun, because it's a whole other level to study this stuff when you're actually thinking how my characters are going to be. I'm contemplating them.
Right.
You see? And so I'm putting my attention, but it's also a game at the same time, and it's fun and it's art. And eventually what I found out is that, because that was the original idea, like take the entire hologenetic problem, they're going to become that. But then I realized that, no matter how I tried, that was incredibly complicated. So what I'm doing now is more like I have my character and I need text or I need dialogue, and then I go look at the profile and I get hints, work on this and work on that, or use this or use that. But it's not like my characters are not exactly the hologenetic. They're them, and I'm kind of taking ideas from their profile, ultimately.
That's fascinating. And so do you see that expediting your own mastery and understanding of the keys? Was that able to
absolutely
accelerate your understanding?
Oh, that changed everything. Because now I have a project. It's like, yes, starting the Jinkies by themselves is a project, but now it's a fun project for me, because I'm I like to have fun. I'm just like, I'm not a serious person, sometimes I can get serious when things are serious. I'm serious, but most of the time I'm really just looking for how can I have fun, And so it's really helping me, and that's another thing I really think about things is how heavy we are about many things. It's like, if we were to have a different education system where it really focused on what the kids want to do, which is to have fun, take them to nature so that they can learn from nature, which actually knows what it's doing. No, we don't fucking know anything, it's like, so it is working. It really expedited but so that I can get to your second part of your question, unless you have something to add to that.
No, please continue.
It eventually, here's what happened. I started doing that, and I continued doing that. And
thanks for tuning in, tribe. If you are finding any value whatsoever from my videos, I'm inviting you to feel into becoming a paid supporter on either my Patreon platform, my Locals platform, or Dare to Dream. Both. The path of the truth-telling journalist has gotten quite a bit crunchy over the past few years. The shadow banning and the censorship have really taken their toll. So your support allows me to keep on keeping on, to keep on making videos and sharing my content. So once again, if you are receiving any value from what I'm doing here, if you're digging my videos, if they make you smile, if they make you think, thank you for supporting me on Patreon, on Locals. Your support really, truly allows me to continue to do this.
But I'm coasting, I'm coasting. I'm not really, I know that I have a purpose, a spiritual purpose to do here. And really ultimately what happened, that took years. I went down to the dark night, the darkest spot, painting helped me get out of that one. And kind of the book took a back burner, and then I kind of shifted a little bit. I left the Jinkies and the book for about 2-3 years, and I painted, and then I come back, and then I come back and I'm working, but at the same time, when the COVID thing hit, actually no, let me backtrack a little bit. Q showed up in around 2017, I think, and I started listening to people in YouTube, probably 2018, so I'm because I've been struggling since 1997 with knowing what's going on in the world and having no way of doing anything about it. I'm like, the shit's hitting the fan. I can't do anything about it.
And what clued you in 97 to what was to come with the world?
I got a book. My father died in 96, and my half sister gave me a book, and that really opened me up to the idea that we are divine beings, and we are here on a spiritual journey, and we create our own reality, and that was the beginning of my spiritual journey, and eventually, the more I dig that, I found it started going that direction, and eventually I unraveled the sweater, and I figured out, I found out what is going on at a whole level, but I didn't know the specifics. I just knew, and I also had an experience with my aunt in the 80s. She was a lawyer, and she was I think she got invited to one of these elite rituals or some shit like that, but she freaked out, and she got really depressed, and she started saying they're trying to put like a debit card number on everybody, and it's the number of the beast, and she got really Christian and went downhill from there. Not that the Christians is anything wrong, because Christianity is great for many people. It works. My mom is very Christian. She's a very beautiful person, but she went downhill, and she got cancer, died. And so that kind of always hit me, because she was my favorite aunt when I was a kid. She was really happy and really nice. And then she got really, really afraid and sad and depressed. So I never could understand that. But then years later, it's 1997, 98, I found about this stuff, and it correlates. So I had something that I had experienced in my life before that. And so I went downhill. I'm like, I want to know what's going on. And back then it was still, just the debit card. Now we know the debit card was the beginning of that. Then we got the phones, and now there's the vaccine, right? But come 2017, I know this is going on, and suddenly we got Q, and I'm thinking, because now we got Trump, right? And so he's really, out of the establishment. He's his own person, and I understand what's going on. Is like they hate him because he's not playing the game. He doesn't have blackmail. If that's the main thing. If you don't have blackmail, they can't control you, and so otherwise they would have already released it, by now. And so we got Q, and I get super excited because I'm thinking it's coming out finally. Oh my God, because I've been freaking out, just holding back so much for so long, and just being so afraid, afraid, because it wasn't just that, it was cataclysmics and everything you hear down the prophecies and everything. And I realized, that's what you really have to go through, your fear of dying. And in all these iterations, it's not just the physical death, but the spiritual death, the social death, all of these areas. And ultimately, just I got to the point where I couldn't really handle. That was the reason, other of the reasons why I wanted to write my book, to just really find a way to put all of this stuff somewhere and kind of find some catharsis, some healing myself. I'm trying to heal myself, and I do painting and all that stuff. That's really what art is for, is a self-healing tool. And so so then what I'm doing is, in 2017, I get to start hooking. 2018, actually, I got to start listening to all of this stuff, and I'm like, finally, oh my God. It was a huge relief. I'm feeling it's coming out. We're winning. Finally, the thing's gonna come out, because I've been waiting for this stuff, what, almost 20 years, because the 97 to 27, that's 20 years, I've been on this one.